can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Kenny. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. We all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Make me put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. And give an F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn they stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Akita. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Y'all just talk, don't.
Good morning. Good morning. If you're in the chat, say good morning. Week 3. We are here. Austin. Good morning. Dewan, Brad, Scott, our boy Dom Toretto in the chat. Kevin, Troy, Jim, good morning. I do think Matt will be joining in a little bit here. Jelly, good morning, Troy. Anthony, I think Matt will be joining here in a little bit. So we'll kind of talk through things. And then when he gets in here, I have some questions for him. Christopher, good morning. I have some questions for him specifically. And then obviously, we'll get to all your questions as well. This is the best I've felt about a week DFS wise so far. Did good in week 1. Last week had some good teams in the the smaller slates, but really didn't have anything good on the main slate. Feel better about things this week. And then obviously, Mitchell feeling dial good. I am as well. And then start. You guys can funnel questions in as well. We'll get to that. I do prefer Whittington to Jennings still. Yeah. I think if we're talking, we'll talk through injury stuff too when Matt gets on here, kind of how we're breaking down all the injury news. But I think if you're playing outside of cash games, which I don't think you're playing Whittington or Jennings in cash personally. Early on the week, I thought, maybe we would have to, but with Akers there now, I think if you were going to play a cheap player in cash, I think you would probably just play Akers. So outside of cash games, you obviously want upside. I think Whittington's upside is higher than Jennings. Jennings is probably a safer, he'll probably get 3, 4, maybe 5 catches and some yards. But I think there's we still know that Jennings is at the bottom of the pecking order between, Brandon Ayuk, and then you still have Jordan Mason. They're going to run the ball. Whittington, we don't know. There's a legit chance that he just leads the team, in catches and all that stuff today. So I think the ceiling's a little bit higher with Whittington than Jennings. So if I'm playing tournaments, that's, what I want to focus on. And then to continue on with that, Christopher, Akers for cash. Yeah, I don't think everyone will play him in cash. I think he's completely fine. I wrote it in my article, but, when we get $4,700 starting running backs on actual functional NFL offenses, right? This isn't like the Broncos or, a team that's been bad having a guy start that's 4,700. We know Houston has a pretty good team total, and we know that he's going to be the starting running back. They do have Dario Ogunbowale still, but he's more of a pass catcher. he'll play in 2-minute drill. I would assume he'll get, more third down work catches, but I do expect kind of Akers to play the lead back. I know Akers fumbled on like the goal line basically last week, but I still think he'll get goal line carries. So I think he's fine for cash. I don't think everyone will play him, but I think he's fine. Melissa, good morning. Survivor. Yeah. So for Survivor, for me, it kind of comes down to Tampa versus Cincinnati. That's kind of the two teams I was debating. I think I'm going to play Cincinnati and just take the risk. I know they've been bad, but this is back against the wall spot. At home, night game, they have to win. They can't go 0-3. So, I mean, this is a team that had Super Bowl aspirations coming into the season. Like, they cannot start the season 0-3. So this is really back against the wall must-win spot for Cincinnati. And Washington, I mean, has just looked terrible. Like, they should have lost to the Giants last week. They got lucky that the Giants, kicker situation was messed up. Bo, good morning. Hot takes, Austin. Let's see here. A-Chain eats and receptions. Agree. Bauer scores first touchdown. I hope so. Would love that. I like Bauer's like touchdown this week for sure. At the odds, if you want to, put him in a touchdown parlay, I think that's a good bet this week. Frosty, good morning. What is our tourney quarterback today? Kyler, Lamar, Geno. Oh, man. Oh, wait. I think Matt's in here. Let me see if I can add him in.
Morning.
Morning.
How you doing, bud?
Yes, Mitchell. You got the Olave on today. I told Matt this would be on for the stream. So we're manifesting this.
There we go. Love that. He got stopped at the 1 yard line last week, and he's just been looking so good. He's gonna. It's his time.
Matt, question from our boy Dom Toretto: is Gabe Davis dust, or is this a revenge spot?
I mean, he's probably dust, right? And
yeah.
T-Law. I mean, he's just not looking that.
That was one thing I was wrong on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jags offense would be really fun this year, and that has not. I mean, there's still time, but that has not been the case for 2 weeks.
There's still time, but there's a lot of like talking heads talking about like just his. I don't know. He's not that accurate. They got some O-line issues, and Gabe Davis needs time for his kind of deep routes to develop. So I mean, I'm pretty excited about Brian Thomas Jr. But I don't know about Gabe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does. It almost feels like Gabe's kind of like usurped Christian Kirk, though. To be honest, like I feel like I don't know. They paid Christian Kirk all that money, and he has not looked good.
Yeah. Ingram's out this week, right? So we got this.
Yeah,
whatever. That's not even on the main slate. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. Let's get in. First and foremost, what as far as injury news goes, we pretty much have all the news unless we have another situation like last week when Evan Ingram randomly got hurt, right as the game was starting. But what's kind of your big takeaway from all the injury news? Obviously, Rams banged up, Niners banged up, Kenneth Walker still out, I guess, are the big ones.
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, with Kenneth Walker down last week, Seattle turned to the pass in a really big way. And we saw, obviously, JSN completely break out, which was awesome. And he also has the way, way, way easier matchup in the slot versus a little disaster in Kahu, whatever, on Miami versus, Jalen Ramsey is going to be on the outside. So that's a big development. And then the Rams and 49ers game is one that, you're kind of hoping for a slop fest type of thing where, points get put up, but a lot of the stars are out of the game. I don't know if you've talked about it yet, but you and I, it's Jordan Whittington week, man. This is everyone welcome to Jordan Whittington week. I think he led the league in preseason receptions and was just completely the entire offense basically. And I don't know, I mean, he played 100% of the snaps last week in the second half when Cooper Kupp went down. And he was the motion man in the slot. So they're kind of reading the defense off of Whittington's, pre-snap motion, We know what pre-snap motion does for offenses. Just look at the lead leaguer in that in New Orleans and what they've done so far. So I think that Whittington at 4,200 is an unreal spot. I'm betting his overs on props for yardages and receptions as well.
Yeah, completely agree. Prop is way too low. What's his reception prop? I didn't see that. Was it
2.5? It's like 2.5.
Yeah,
It's something embarrassing.
Yeah. He could catch 7. I would not be shocked if he had 7 catches today. 2.5 is crazy.
I mean, San Francisco is a top 3 pass funnel in the league. They're gonna have to be passing, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's weird to be this like kind of all in on a pretty what most people would consider marginal play, but excuse me, it's 3.5 at about even juice. So yeah, I mean, but how's he not walk away in this game with 6-7 catches the way McVay plays? I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's such a good play, and I like that he's not gonna be. When I did my first look video, I had him in my first look lineup. And then as the week has gone on, I don't really think people are going down, to that range on their main team. So we're kind of going to get him a little bit, lower owned than definitely more so than I thought on Tuesday.
Are people going to Juwan Jennings for $100 less? Is that what's happening?
If you play Juwan Jennings over Jordan Whittington, that just tells me all I need to know about you.
They are. Oh my God, they are.
I wouldn't be friends with that person,
I just looked at some ownership, and yes, people are absolutely going to Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, so one of the questions,
which is not a terrible. It's not a terrible play, right? But I mean,
no. Before you got on, someone asked about those two specifically, and I said if I'm playing tournaments, what's the case of playing Jennings over Whittington in tournaments? The ceiling is significantly higher with Whittington. Jennings might have a higher floor. You could make an argument for, but there's no way you could sell me that his ceiling is higher.
Agreed. Yeah, we know what that role in that McVay offense is, right? I mean, we see that role with Liam Cohen going to Tampa Bay this year, what it's done for Godwin. I mean, he was the lead leaguer year to date. So I just think that, yes, of course, Whittington, we don't know much about him. He wasn't a huge prospect coming out of Texas, but he can kind of play the role from what we saw in the preseason. And I know it's preseason, but that's a tough role to play. But he really, I don't know, so far he looks good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what's your take on Charbonnet? Man.
I don't know. I don't think he's very good. Right. So, and we already saw last week that their pass rate jumped way, way higher with no Kenneth Walker. That all preseason, all camp, they were just obsessed with K9. And look, he's going to get the volume, right? But he's not someone I would be playing this week personally.
Okay. All right. Whittington or Akers and cash. I mean, if you're playing true cash, which is you're not playing that team in tournaments, you're playing double ups and 50-50s and head to heads, I guess I'd probably still play Akers, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not playing much Akers outside of cash formats. I don't think I wouldn't be really enthused to play him,
The number one outside run stopping linebacker is now out for the Vikings. It's a good system, that zone running system that he knew from the Rams. Obviously now with Bobby Slowick in Texas in Houston, he certainly could be fine. I don't think he's a bad play, but I'm not going crazy. I'm actually not playing him cash, but I'm weird. I'm playing in some other stuff. I just want to get to some other players.
All right. So, we talked a little bit of injury stuff. Where are you going for your main couple teams? Because it's no secret. I mean, I wrote in my article, I have the jersey on. I am way too in on the Saints here.
Yeah.
I've fought this all week because first reaction, when I started looking at the slate, I was we need to play the Saints here. And then for the middle part of the week, I really battled myself. Don't fall too victim to recency bias. Yes, they've been the best looking team. It's even heightened how good they've looked because most other offenses have looked so bad. So it's even more extreme in their favor in terms of just the recency bias. But it still comes back to just how good of a spot I think it is. If they were playing most other teams, I probably wouldn't be as in on them as I am, but I really think this is like the nut matchup for them.
People, I think that like the normies think that Philly still has a good defense, and they just don't. They're 31st in pressure rate this year. They're 31st in yards allowed per completion. They were the number 2 pass funnel last year. They still have a decent run defense, with some of the big bodies on the D line. But this is not a pass defense that anyone should be afraid of. What we've seen as far as efficiency out of Derek Carr the first 2 weeks is like an all-time type pace of efficiency, and he hasn't had to pass. Like he literally has not had to pass. They're setting up, this play action so nasty. He's now passed 16 and 23 times, 39 attempts year to date. Whereas this is a spot where, Philly's going to put up points. I think it's a fairly competent offense, But I think that if you can project the most efficient passer year to date in a brand new offense where there's data for this to be better, again, they went from bottom 3 in the league in pre-snap motion and play action last year to leaguing play action and pre-snap motion, and now they're probably going to have to actually pass more. Like if he goes from 16 or whatever we said, it was a 16 and 23 attempts up to 32, 33, which is what most projection sites are showing. And this is a very porous defense. I mean, it's just, why is he not getting played? I guess just because he doesn't run, right? I mean, that's just people don't want to play quarterbacks that don't run.
Yeah, people are probably still kind of caught up on the fact that it's Derek Carr, but yeah, I mean, when you think of Philly, very bad in coverage. Like, if you're a very bad team in coverage, like going up against Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, like that's like a nightmare,
Yeah. Plus now we have no Taysom Hill, so a lot of that touch on equity deep in the red zone, unfortunately, typically is a concern. It's not a concern today, right? So I think that's pretty big.
We even saw a wheel route from Taysom Hill. Like they threw a deep ball wheel route to him in the end zone in week 1. And that even takes
you said, this is Derek Carr. Like the guy was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He obviously a highly, touted prospect. I just think like I get it, but he was in one of the worst offenses in the NFL for between Raiders and the Saints the last couple of years. I mean, it's just like this is new stuff. He's got great weapons. I don't know. I love the spot. Not to mention they're the second highest team total on the week. Their Vegas projected team total is like 26.5 points.
26.5 team total for the Saints.
Which you kind of have to after they put up 40 like the first 2 weeks. I get it, but like I don't know. Vegas is not going to go broke by just over assuming their output. I mean, 26.5. That's a huge number. I'm only team higher is the Lions.
Yeah, and I know you and I come on these videos all the time and talk about scheme. I hope that this specifically has opened people's eyes to how big scheme matters because I mean, you go from what the Saints looked like last year, and it just shows it was never the Saints. They have playmakers all on the field. Like it's solely on the play calling and the scheme. So yeah. All right. Outside of the Saints, where are you kind of looking, or some of your favorite spots on the slate?
So I think, a couple of weird spots where the team totals are really, really low, like Miami, with the backup quarterback, Skylar Thompson, who Mike McDaniel claims is a new man. And this is his 3rd season and the reps and the time and the system. He claims he can do it all. We'll see. Seattle's a tough defense going on the road. And I actually love Achane. There's no Mostert, there's no Jeff Wilson. And we saw what he did last week. Skylar Thompson, since entering the league, has targeted running backs at the highest rate in the league. He's got 7 catches in 2 straight games. I mean, that's a wide receiver 1 type receiving output. And then, he'll run the ball, a lot. Last week was 22 times. They had him in the 4th quarter down 31-10. They're still leaving him in the game. It's like, and he was questionable, but now they have 10 days rest. And this system is going to be built upon getting the ball in Achane's hands. I think those are the highest, probably most productive plays and also the most predictable. So I love Achane. I think I'm waiting to hear your thoughts. I think you're probably still on him. The other kind of interesting plays, I got onto Deontay Johnson later in the week. Did a lot of looking into, where he was with late career, horrible dead arm Ben Roethlisberger in 2021, where he was second in the league in targets, was extremely productive. And now we have late career Andy Dalton, who, from what we saw last year with a spot start, also in week 3 on the road, threw for 380 yards. Certainly, I think he looks more competent than Big Ben did late in his career, and Deontay was an absolute monster. He's been the league leader in separation if you average over the last 5 years. I think for 4,900, I think that Deontay in the spot is actually pretty good. The team total is terrible, right? But I think that if you can peg him for 8, 9, 10 targets where, the Panthers are going to have to pass, I actually like it.
Love it. Yeah, I actually took, as soon as that Dalton news broke, I took the over 46.5 on Deontay's receiving yards. So, yeah. And, I mean, money immediately, as soon as that news broke, immediately that total jumped like 2 points. Like, money just started pouring in on the over in that game.
Yeah.
So.
How are you on HN? Are you still on HN this week?
Yeah, great play.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when he gets targets, they're coming from the slot more often than not. They will split them out wide once or twice a game, but more often than not, those targets are coming in the slot or just those like really high value kind of just like screens or just dump offs, like design dump offs almost that they run and letting him run after the catch. And yeah, I mean, it's the same situation as last week. No Mostert. And like you said, now they have 10 days rest as opposed to the short week. So I definitely think I don't even know what his prop is. I can check for carries. I think 20 like carries is very likely.
That's
and
crazy.
Then you mix in on the receptions, but I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. One other thing I wanted to kind of mention is for me, I don't know like where you're at on this, but we kind of talked about it in the group chat earlier this week, but I do like some Brown stuff this week, and I never play Browns. So people should take note. When I'm playing Browns or betting on the Browns, like I bet the Browns money line last week, I never bet on the Browns. So I actually feel really good about the spot if I'm going to play these guys. Coming into the season, Browns new kind of offensive kind of themes that they were implementing here with Ken Dorsey coming over. They want to play up tempo. They want to play fast. They are one of the few, even though Deshaun Watson's been bad, they are one of the few teams that have a positive, pass rate over expectation. And the Giants defense is not good. Like the Washington Commanders were not finishing drives last week and scoring touchdowns, but they had no issues kind of advancing the football. And you just have such a clear kind of bounce back spot here for Amari Cooper. Boots on the ground being in Northeast Ohio, like that has been the talk all week. All I've heard is Amari Cooper needs to get going. Amari Cooper. He's dropped two wide open touchdowns, like easily could have 2 touchdowns. And, that would change both the outlook on him and Watson because you would have 2 more, touchdowns on Watson's total. So I do like the Browns this week, Watson, Cooper. And then, I mean, if you play those 2, like you can pretty much, like Watson's so cheap, you can pretty much play whoever
Are you running it back with Neighbors, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Yeah, I like Neighbors too. Like we talked about. Browns are one of the few teams that have not kind of switched over to this cover 2 defense. Like they just play Superman. They believe in Emerson. They believe in Denzel Ward. And those guys, Greg Newsome in the slot, like they believe they can man you up. And Malik Neighbors has not seen a ton of man coverage this season, but when he's seen it, he is absolutely cooked. And I don't care if you're the best corner in the league. Like I'll bet on Malik Neighbors to get open if you're just going to keep manning him up.
There's obviously some systemic risk with that offense in general going to Cleveland with all the havoc that D-line brings. And, but I think in a specific, Watson Cooper lineup, I think you kind of have to have Neighbors there to kind of tell that story. Right. So I like that. I think we have to talk about, our Lions going to Arizona and the highest over under of the week. Lions are a very tough team to kind of figure out, with the touchdown equity being spread so wide. So far we've seen kind of everyone having, week 1 was a JMO week. They said, week 2 was Amon-Ra, kind of got him going. First of all, it's been JMO week both weeks. JMO had a 3-yard out route, at the 5-yard line or 3-yard line last week in the red zone. He's had some deep looks. So I'm going to remain high on JMO, especially at his price. Some coach talk. I don't know if you and I talked about this, but basically they said, going into the season, there was real injury concerns on Laporta. He was just like, they weren't even sure if he's going to play week 1. He was not in the game plan. So like he played, but his snaps weren't high and he didn't get much production. Week 2, they brought more of the game plan in. They also were saying, hey, he was hurt, so we don't want to go crazy and leaning on him too much. And he didn't do much last week. Granted, he was on the field for more snaps. He had, a couple catches, but not much. Last year, obviously, he was a touchdown monster with 10 touchdowns. They said this week it's got to be a Laporta week, which is a little weird to kind of say that, when your opponents are listening to what you're saying too. But they said it's going to be a Laporta week. That could just be a little bit of the whole like, hey, we got to get him going type of stuff. But I think that, Dan Campbell is a coach that actually does what he says. I think they are going to look for him specifically in the red zone. I like that play. I'm really high in Gibbs on the road. Not a tough defense by any measure, but I think that in this type of back and forth game, assuming that Vegas has it kind of right, you're going to see more Gibbs out there, and I'm really high in Gibbs. The only player I'm really interested in on the Cardinals, I'd love to hear your take, is just Trey McBride. All of his numbers are just phenomenal, just like last year to start this year. It's been great. He fell on a fumble, recovery for a touchdown last week, which is kind of silly. But I think Trey McBride's about all I'm interested. Are you on Marv at all this week? Are you doing any other pieces from Arizona?
Yeah. If you guys have questions, drop. We'll get to them. To answer your question, I don't have any Marv coming into the week. I've kind of battled this over the weekend too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get a read on the spot for the Cardinals. Like my football brain, like my DFS brain tells me like, it's Kyler. I was on like it's a good spot and a huge total. And historically, Kyler Murray like has really, really gone nuclear in the games he's played when there has been a high Vegas total.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of one side of it. And then my just football eyes tell me like Aiden Hutchinson is going to be like a complete like game record, exactly like he did last week. And if that's the case, I feel like that hinders not only it hinders the overall game, but just like how is he going to like sit back there and like wait for these like long developing routes to like hit Mark?
Agreed.
Like I just don't see it,
That's fair. We saw what they did to Mike Evans last week compared to Godwin and Kupp across the middle type looks thus far. But this Arizona team coming into the year, they're the dead last ranked secondary and the dead last ranked defensive line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this is a spot where you would think JMO certainly has time for his routes to develop.
Yes.
At fit was he 5,800? I mean, I think that's pretty nice. Are you playing any Monra?
I don't have him on any team. I honestly I like Gibbs and I like Montgomery the most. Like those are the two plays that I really want to play here. Like I know Montgomery is kind of like super touchdown or bust, especially at 6,100. But I mean, we saw this in week 1 against the Rams. Like it was a pretty run heavy approach. Yeah. And if I just don't know because I'm not there, but like if that's what they want to do this week, like they can do it again. And,
Agreed. And with how efficient, perfect passer rating, Kyler was last week, they very well could just want to try to take the air out of the ball and, run it down their throats. I mean, Monty did have 4 catches last week, which is a little strange for him. But on DraftKings, it's you got to really be kind of playing that story. And if you're playing Monty, then you're kind of playing for a little bit more of a slower game. If Monty does great, probably this game comes in the under. Was it 51.5? Which kind of lowers the expectation output for everyone.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just biased. I want it to be fun, so I'm not playing much Monty.
I have him on one team, and I have nothing else for that game. I just have Monty Lions D.
Really?
My play. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We're a little bit different there. My main lineup has Gibbs and McBride as a little mini correlation.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. I think the lines create pressure, but they create pressure, but they're not a great defense.
Especially on the like, if Kyler had time, I think he'd pick this team apart, like on the back end, especially with and I think he can get loose running the ball for sure.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like, I still like Kyler, but I really like other than McBride, I don't really like love any of the stacking options. And like, if anyone plays Kyler, they're going to play McBride. So I'd probably rather play it like you to where I just have pieces of the game and then not have the quarterback. I agree with that for sure.
Let's knock out some questions.
I do have Gibbs on a team, one of my main teams. So
Got to play Gibbs. Yeah, love it.
All right, yeah, let's see here. I'm going to scroll back up to some, see if I missed any of these. Elite quarterback like Hurts for cash or low end like Cardinals. Yeah, I think this is going to be a popular question this week, especially on DraftKings. What's your take on that, Matt?
I mean, I happen to be going value quarterback this week. I have not been that impressed with specifically Jalen Hurts this year. He lost his top option.
Yeah.
Saints are historically pretty good at defending wide receiver ones, not just a Lattimore thing, but just their scheme. I like Lamar a lot more than Hurts. I don't know why people. I mean, I guess the game environment with higher over under and everything for Hurts, and he's got the tush push stuff. But I think Lamar's in a way, way, way better spot. He's going to be running his butt off, and they can't go 0-3, man. The Ravens cannot start 0-3. He's going to be treating this like a near playoff game. I like Lamar. If you're going to be paying up, great.
What about Kyler in that comment?
Yeah. I mean, he's kind of, what is he, 6.9? I mean, he's kind of up there. Gosh, I don't know. I think I prefer the cheaper stuff. Carr for 1,000 less. I don't hate Kyler. I mean, that's a fine play. I prefer. It's crazy to say I prefer Derek Carr, but I guess here we are.
I know. I literally sent that in the group earlier this
it's outrageous.
Week. Like it's 2024, and I'm playing like Carr and Watson, Gardner Minshew. Like, what the heck is going on?
I don't hate Gardner Minshew either. It's so crazy.
Yeah. DraftKings cash Murray, Charbonnet, Gino, Kamara. That's tough. I would, man.
Second. I go second. Gino, Kamara for me.
I might take the first. I like Charbonnet, I think, a little bit more than you. I know he stinks, like real life football, but the role was so good. It's very similar to like a Rashad White situation, I feel like.
It is. It's similar, yes. I would agree.
And I mean, they are decent favorites. It's you know what it is? It's Rashad White, but there's no threat of a Bucky Irving behind him. Like it's Rashad White from last year. Like he's gonna get all of the touches. So I think I like him a little bit more than you. Pollard versus Green Bay, I think is a good tournament play. Yeah, I don't have him. Yeah. I have him on early slate. Don't have him on any main slate teams, but I have no problem.
Spears is banged up. He was truly questionable to play this week, and Pollard's been looking really good. All camp, he's been nice.
You can play Pollard with Titans defense too. I think is a good move
for sure.
A-Chain or Kamara in cash. I would say Kamara for cash formats. I prefer A-Chain in tournaments though to Kamara. I think this week. Kamara, it's like Kamara's always ran bad with touchdowns for like 3 years, and then this year, like he just comes out of the gate. Just scoring touchdowns. Like there's no way that continues, right? I know there's no threat of Taysom, but like, I don't know.
Yeah. I think he's a good play, but obviously that last week was an outlier, a major outlier. He does it like once a year, but
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Godwin or Neighbors half PPR. Kevin, your team has to just be loaded.
Godwin for me.
Yeah, I would play Godwin in a season long format over Neighbors for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Pollard or Steele, season long Pollard for sure. I don't want to mess around with what's your take? I know that actually is on the FanDuel slate, that Chiefs game.
Yeah, I just think they're going to lean even heavier into the pass, right? I mean, their pass rate up over expectation in the red zone is always, league leading at the top. And I think that with, Pacheco might be done for the year, but on the first game without Pacheco, I think they're just going to, really lean into the pass. I'd be looking Pollard over Steele there. Love Rice though. Love Rice this week.
Oh yeah. So someone earlier asked favorite play on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Rashid Rice is my favorite play on FanDuel by far.
Yeah, I would agree. He's up there.
Dallas, Baltimore. Yeah, Austin. That's a good question. I guess we haven't talked much about that other than Matt talking about Lamar there. I think if I were to play it. I don't know, Matt. Did you have any of this on like your main slate teams? I was thinking about making an afternoon team, and I was going to do Dak and CD just because I was so in on Dak last week, and he got this super good game script, and it just didn't pan out. Like it just happened to be a bad game for them. So I don't want to quit on that.
Yeah, I love this
good
game.
Total. You love it? Okay.
I actually do. Yeah, I mean, Ravens defense is just so far not good. Third highest completion percentage, third highest yards per attempt. They're just getting beat. And I like to play at Lamar, Andrews, CD personally. But I think that game is, I don't think it's much of a secret. There'll be some ownership there, but not a ton.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a afternoon team.
Remember, the Cowboys went from extreme man heavy splits to tons of zone this year under the new DC, and Mark Andrews for years has been the zone, beater for Lamar, and he was totally taken out of the game plan week 1. Everyone freaked out, thought likely was the next coming, but he's always done that against the Chiefs. For years, they've schemed against Andrews, and I think this week Andrews kind of lets the league know that he's still the guy.
Yeah, Dak, CD, Andrews. I'm making that team 100%.
Okay, I like it. That's my second biggest lineup, which is a distant second.
Wow.
I do.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Lamar.
Wow, you do like it then. I got it. Okay. I'm making the team then, for sure. Yeah. For the swing of nines, I would take London for sure, and I would take Akers over Ford. Honestly, I'm worried about Donta Foreman. Like it's an unknown. Ford could start the game today. Foreman could. I literally have no idea what they're gonna do there.
Who knows?
So I would take Akers. Upset of the day, I would say. I think the Bears are slight underdogs. They could win.
We've been nailing these, by the way. I don't know if you realize that.
I know. We kind of have. I'm
nailing them.
Kicking myself for not just betting them. I think the Bears are live.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone that you like?
I was talking to a buddy about his survivor picks yesterday. We ended up settling thinking that the Bengals made the most sense, but he was about ready to what was he going to lock in? He was going to lock in the Raiders. I'm like, dude, I don't think you don't take that spot. I think Carolina's live in a spot where you have a new look offense with a new quarterback coming in. I think Carolina's live. I'm not impressed with the Raiders. Is Crosby playing? I think he's playing, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay. They're live.
Chargers are live, and just a low scoring, trash
agreed.
game. And those low scoring games, anyone can win those. I mean, 34.5 total is insane.
Yeah, agreed. I think Dolphins are live.
Oh, yeah.
4-point
most
dogs.
definitely. I would agree with
that.
If
you give Mike McDaniel 10 days to prep with someone in their third year in the system, regardless of what his name is, Scar Thompson or whatever, I think that they got to be live.
Agree with that. Olave Titans or Godwin's Colts FanDuel Cash. I would take the second one there.
Yeah.
What's your take straight up on, I guess, Chris Godwin versus Chris Olave? Because I think that's going to be a popular debate. It's Olave.
Yeah, it is, dude. I mean, they're in a dome against I'd say a far worse defense in Philly, and they're gonna have to pass more script wise. It's close. I mean, it's close, but I would say Olave.
Okay. What about? Okay, so if you take Olave, what about Godwin versus Devonta Smith? I like Godwin over him. I think.
I would agree. Godwin over Slim. Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
Okay. Season long PPR from our.
What about BA? What about top 4 owned Brandon Ayuk? We got to cover that. Are you playing?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's throw him in there. Yeah. Okay.
So with Ayuk, gosh, let's just rank those. Those are the top owned 6K receivers.
I'm putting Devonta Smith last. I can tell you that.
Okay. I think probably I would too.
Okay. And then I'm going to put, for me, I would say, oh my God.
I think I put Ayuk third.
I think it's Olave, Godwin, Ayuk.
Yep. Agreed.
Smith. Yeah.
It's close, between Ayuk and Godwin, but I would agree. Yeah.
I don't know. Who honestly, I think Godwin might come in lower owned than we think. I think the average person will play Smith over him. I think people will play Ayuk over him. And
for sure.
I mean, Olave is trendy this week. I could see people playing him over him.
Plus, we saw Evans kind of get taken care of on the outside last week, and this week he's got Pat Surtain, on the outside shadowing Evans, and you have really poor slot coverage, in Denver. So Godwin, and again, this is a new system.
Blitzes a ton.
They do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like, dude, I don't know. I really like Godwin this week. I'm like overweight Godwin, so I don't care. But
So like he's playing the literal Cooper Kupp role in an offense that the OC was in LA, and he was a wide receiver coach before that in LA under McVay. And Godwin's just way faster than Kupp, right? He ran a 4.4, Kupp ran a 4.6. Kupp's generational. I mean, we all know that I'm a Cooper Kupp guy, but I just think that like this should not be seen as fluky at all. And all that being said, I just think this is a game that you have to play a guy like Olave because this is like the interruption spot for him. You know, he got tackled at the 1 last week, and I just love it for this.
Chris Godwin is who people thought Drake London was going to be this year. Like that was like the trendy take was Drake London's going to be the Cooper Kupp of the Falcons with Robinson.
So bad I missed it. I have no exposure to Godwin practically in best ball. I didn't do enough work on the Liam Cohen stuff when he came over to the Bucs. I just feel terrible now at this point. I mean, whatever.
I got him in my home league. I got Godwin in the 9th round of my draft. Just like,
and I'm a Godwin guy. I love him.
Just insane. But okay, Frosty, season-long PPR, Waddle, Zay Flowers, or Smith and the Jigba.
Gosh, JSN or Zay for me.
Yeah, I would take Waddle out. So it's, I mean, that kind of like when we talk about zone coverage, that kind of plays into Zay's game as well.
It does.
But man,
if last week was real, dude, like JSN and with Ramsey on DK, like Cater Kohu in the middle, like,
and that's what we thought JSN was going to do coming into the season. You know,
way better prospect than Zay Flowers.
It just took a week to get there.
Sure. Yeah, I would say upside. You go, believe it or not, you go JSN.
Yes,
if
higher ceiling on JSN, floor better on Zay. So I guess both those games are late, Frosty. I might wait and kind of see what my opponent's doing here, and then I can make a decision.
JJ Witt says PPR: Jerome Ford, Dobbins, or Zamir White. Ooh, Ford, Dobbins, or White. PPR means Zamir's not doing much in the catching department. It'd be between Dobbins or Ford for me. Gosh.
Probably just ride the hot hand with Dobbins. I know the game sucks, and he's not going to keep scoring 40-yard touchdown runs, but I mean, we know they're going to run. Like, he's at least going to get touches, like, for sure.
Yeah.
So
right.
I'd probably just lean into that. Someone had a good question about Drake London versus Amari Cooper for season long. They already have Bijan on their team. I don't know. I feel really convicted, and I could be wrong because, look, Amari Cooper is at that age to where he could just be on decline now. You know, he's 30 years old, and the Browns know it's coming. The Browns have been very hesitant to pay him, and, you know, there were trade rumors around him this offseason. Like, the Browns know that it's coming, but the thing for me watching the games, like, he's still been open and just dropped touchdowns. So I think that's going to correct. So I'm pretty bullish on Cooper having a good game today, and I would be fine starting him over Drake London.
Yeah, I like that.
Nico Collins or Diggs revenge game. Taz, I'm on Diggs this week. I haven't really seen anyone else on him, so I don't know. I've kind of been questioning myself on that, but he's a gross price on DraftKings, 6,600. Like, he's just in that loaded range to where everyone around him is projecting better. But I do like Diggs this week. I have him on one of my main teams.
I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of crazy to play him straight up over, you know, Collins if someone's just like picking. But I think that's a good spot for Diggs, no question. But like Nico's like insanely good at football.
He is.
So
yeah, I try.
He's so fast for his size. He's a freak.
Yeah, he can fly. Yeah. He looks like, like when he runs, like he's running by people, but it looks like slow motion. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's very, very good.
3 favorite players scored touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs is scoring a touchdown. Number 1. I would say Chris Olave is going to score a touchdown, number 2. And then I'm going to go Brock Bowers' first NFL touchdown today for my third one there.
Love it.
What about you? You got guys to score?
Let's go. I'm going to match you with Gibbs.
Okay.
I'm going to be chalky and say Achane. Even a 17 or 18 point team total. And then as an interesting one, let's go with our boy, Jordan Whittington.
Man, if Jordan Whittington scores a touchdown today, that would
It's going to be electric.
That will be electric. Achane, look, he doesn't get enough credit as just a touchdown scorer either.
Yeah.
13 career games played, 13 touchdowns. I mean, the guy just gets in the end zone. I don't know.
Because he just keeps running and eventually he has to stop. So the end zone stops him, not the other team, basically.
Yeah. I can't believe it's only been 2 weeks and look, things can happen in an NFL season, but I just can't believe people were so didn't want to draft him in the third round of the drafts. I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Taylor, yeah, round robin yesterday was sick. Finally had a good college football betting day yesterday. Could have been a monster day if Cal or Kansas both didn't choke that, Taylor, but that was a fun. We definitely made some money on that. Colts getting wrecked on the ground. Yeah, so Mitchell, Sam in our group chat was kind of talking about DeAndre Swift earlier this week. I actually do have him on one of my – I played that $40 10 max. I do have DeAndre Swift on one team, but I'm not super convicted in it. I guess it's just trying to get different, I guess, at running back. But what's your thoughts there? I don't think you're playing any of them.
Who?
DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. I think it's a little too marginal. I think it's it's a good spot. Put a guy like him on the turf. I think that it's fine. It's fine. I'm only playing 6 teams, and he's not making the cut this week.
Yeah, I'm only playing him, Mitchell, because I don't ever really make 10 teams. It just happened that this week, I was I'm going to make 10 teams in that contest. So if I was playing my normal, which is 4 to 5 teams, I probably would not have.
Dude, I was just looking over red zone stuff when you're talking about Gibbs and JMO lead the league in red zone targets, and we've been the lines have been so bad in the red zone this year, which is so strange compared to last year. I think if you get some major red zone scoring regression out of the Lions today against one of the worst defenses in the league in a dome, this could be an explosion for the Lions, 35-point type explosion.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Man, I don't know. I feel bad that I don't have JMO on any team. I kind of feel bad about it.
JMO, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra, they have 14 red zone targets, and there's 0 touchdowns between those 14 targets.
Maybe
it's just out. That's absurd.
Maybe I'll put him on that deck.
Dude, I got a Goff lineup. If a lot of those turn to touchdowns, Goff, if we're playing Carr, right, who doesn't run, is in the great spot. We should also be playing someone like Jared Goff who could go 303.
Yeah. How awful Toledo, Mitchell. I thought that we won over 4 units yesterday, and then I went to check, and then it kept saying 3 units, and I was like, what is wrong with this? And then I realized that Toledo choked that game. I had stopped watching it. So, yeah, classic. Touchdown picks. We answered that. Ford, Dobbins, or Zimmer. Oh, wait, you answered that one, I think, right?
Take out one for cash. FanDuel, Mason, Kamara, Achane. Take out one for, oh, God.
Achane, I think, for cash.
Yeah, for half PPR, cash, yeah. I guess Mason and Kamara, yeah.
Yeah, FanDuel's so dumb because Akers is fourth, flat 4 on FanDuel, which I've never seen. I did not know running backs could be $4,000 on FanDuel. I thought it was $5,000. So, yeah, I mean, you just put him in, and then you quite literally could play any single team that you want on FanDuel. It's so stupid. Favorite prop of the day. This is a weird week for me. Last week, I had a ton of sides that I liked, and we did really well betting them. This week, that was not the case. The only side I liked this week's Tennessee. I took them at -2.5.
I got a prop that I like a lot. I sent it to you guys. It's the Devontae and Deontay prop. 80 plus yards for Devontae and 50 plus for Deontay Johnson. That's plus 350 on the nose, which is nice.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it. I was messing around on last night. I think it was -125 when I looked at it on FanDuel, but it was just Olave and CeeDee Lamb 50+ yard parlay.
What was the line on it?
I think it's -125. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Olave and CeeDee 50+ yards both. Oh, I think it was -125.
That's just an injury bet. I mean, that's crazy. They're going to get there.
Yeah, so I really like that. I like Deontay over 46.5. Like I said, I took that when that news broke. And I didn't include him in my touchdown picks, but I like Amari Cooper touchdown plus 200 odds. Like we know his home road split
Amari at
stuff
home.
too. Yeah, exactly. I think that's 2-1 on him to score is good value.
Yeah, I like that.
CJ, I'm not playing Saubert in cash. I think he's fine tournament play, but I don't know. Like usually I would probably play that punt guy in cash because I always play punt tight end in cash. But man, I just like
I think
who
Johnny's
would you play at
defensible.
tight end for cash? Like you have Bowers, you have McBride, and I guess you could
It's
throw
Bowers and
Ferguson in
McBride.
that mix. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ferg is going to be. Yeah, Big Ferg's going to be up there in popularity, and I think he's fine. But like, I would just get up to Bauer. I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be playing.
So hard not to play Bowers.
Yeah, it's like 900 more to get to Bowers. I mean, I'm playing. I'm playing McBride in cash, but I have plenty of Bowers in other lineups.
All right. If you guys have any last minute questions, drop them in. Matt, do you have any final thoughts here on the slate? Any bold calls that you would like to give out here?
Well, I think you really got to pay attention to upside this week. You got to be playing players that have a path to real upside. I think there's a fair amount of value this week. You got to find upside. Bold calls. I mean, we talked about kind of our high conviction plays throughout the pod. A lot of Whittington stuff. Olave, Deontay, Devontae, Gibbs, so on and so forth. I'm going to say bold call, which is kind of crazy because it's a decent defense and they went from zone to man, or they went from man to zone, which is hard to run on. But I think Lamar gets up to like 100 yards rushing in this game.
I love it.
Just as he did in week 1 on the road against a good team in KC, 122 yards. I think he runs wild.
Love it. Dave, do you like Packers D or Titans D? Yeah, thanks for watching, Dave. Appreciate it. I like Titans defense.
Yeah.
Titans defense actually first in the NFL in total yardage allowed. And they kind of, ran pure here. Looks like Jordan Love will be back next week, but they're going to get this Malik Willis game.
Yeah.
Less opportunity for sacks because, they're not going to be dropping back Malik Willis like they would Jordan Love. But at the same time, still opportunities for turnovers there. And, they're home favored defense against a bad quarterback, contrary to what we saw from Malik Willis last week. I know the Packers won the game, but still, has not been a good NFL quarterback.
What's your favorite running back play of the day, Ben?
Okay, well, let's take Mason out of that because Mason on DraftKings, how much do you have of him across your lineups?
Let's see, out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 lineups, I have him in 5 out of 6.
Yeah, because I'm going to take him out because Jordan Mason should be 7,700, the same price as Barkley on DraftKings. So it's just a weird situation.
He's running routes, by the way. He's running routes in a real way. He's just not getting targeted. Not saying that he's going to go grab 4 or 5 balls, but everyone's knocking him. Like, oh, he doesn't catch any balls. It's like, well, he could. He's running a lot of routes, but he's just really good. And the Shanahan zone run scheme is just so nasty.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 that I like. One is just I know you don't like him, but I really do like Charbonnet today.
Okay.
And I would say I think Saquon is such an interesting way to play a Saints team because one, I think that there's upside that the narrative in Philly is that they didn't hand the ball off on that play, to end the game last week and they lost the game because of it. So I think they could come out maybe a little bit more run heavy than we think.
Mm-hmm.
And if Saquon is scoring touchdowns, it kills every team that has Jalen Hurts and it kills every team that has Devonta Smith. So
I got him in one of my 6. Yeah, I like Saquon here.
I love Carr with Saquon on the other side. I think is really good.
No one's playing him, I don't think. And I mean, look what he did in week 1. It erupted in week 1. This is an awesome, awesome spot and a huge total game, and he's just not being played.
Yeah. Would you drop Corum or Whittington? You'd want to get a defense.
I mean,
for
depends
season
on the rest
long.
of the roster, right? But
yeah, Blake Corum has not done literally anything. He hasn't been on the field, but really hard to drop him, in my opinion, in a season-long league because the thesis of Blake Corum is that if Kyron Williams goes down, he's going to be a top 10, startable running back every week. So I don't need Blake Corum to have a role for him to be on my bench. I don't care if he's scoring points. I just need him if Kyron gets hurt. So I would probably keep him if it's seasonal. But overall, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Matt, good luck today. Chat, good luck today. See everybody.